Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the movie of What If Deku was the reincarnation of the Sage of the Six Paths. Only a few things to say. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another daily upload. We are so close to 21,000 subscribers, and also it's free for you to hit the like button. I don't know why you don't do it. You're just proper muggy if you don't do it, you get me? Also, check out if you go to my description, you'll see my Instagram, my Snapchat. Go add me on Snapchat, follow me on Instagram, we'll have a little conversation and as well. Please go follow my thumbnail artist, he is my lifesaver. Yesterday he made me two amazing thumbnails like that, and he was in school, bruv. He risked getting in trouble in school. He hopped on his phone, not on his phone, in class, he hopped on the computer and made a thumbnail for me, like, that's dedication. So please go fucking subscribe to him. But other than that, guys, I'm not going to waste your time any longer. Let's get straight into this movie. Enjoy. The beginning is not even in the My Hero Academia universe. We'll now go to Hagoromo, the Sage of the Six Paths, who is watching over as the reincarnation of his sons, Indra and Ashura, who are now named Sasuke and Naruto, are currently sealing his mother, saving the shinobi world. After seeing this happen, he thinks, maybe it's time for me to fully pass on. As he says this, he closes his eyes, and a strange relief spreads throughout his body as his spiritual body begins breaking apart and flies off into the sky. We now go back to Deku, who's just been born in the hospital, crying. He came out with skin very pale, not as pale as the Sage of the Six Paths, but very, very pale. And he also has... Do I keep his orange hair? No. Did I say orange? He has his green hair. But as he was crying, a doctor attempted to give him a vaccine at the start. That's what they do in the My Hero Academia world. And as soon as the needle broke through his skin, Deku's eyes turned purple and his hair turned white. And he blew the doctor away. His eyes quickly returned to the normal green colour and his hair returned to green. And they realised that this baby has a strong quirk. And it's rare for a baby to be born with a quirk this early, but they sedated Deku using a mask instead, and gave him all his vaccines. Now we're going to cut to Deku. He's roughly about 4, he's in his primary, and his quirk has not shown up again. But we now watch as his best friend Bakugou has awakened his quirk, and his explosions are being shown off. As Deku's watching his explosions, his eyes begin to burn and he begins to scream and cry. Bakugou rushes over to him. This is before everyone starts telling him he's amazing. He rushes over to Deku, his friend, and he's panicking. He looks at Deku's eyes and he jumps back afraid at first. Deku's eyes are now purple. They're running gone. And the nurse and the teachers go, "Oh wow, Deku, you awakened your quirk. Your mother said that you had signs of a quirk and your eyes turned purple, but to think that it awakened now, along with your best friend. I wonder what it could be. Knowing you two, I bet you'll both have amazing quirks." 1 second, guys, my order just went haywire. 1 second. There we go, guys. Bakugou goes, "Wow, Deku." I'm just going to say right now, Deku was just a fun nickname they've had for each other since they were kids. They don't mean useless. He goes, "Wow, Deku, you're working your quirk with me. I wonder what it's going to be." Deku goes, "My head." And he stands up. He says his vision feels weird, and they ask him what do they mean. He's like, you can see everything like all around him. And they go, interesting. Deku has 20/20 vision, like 360, everything he can see all around him. And it's quite incredible. And he also says that his eyes feel powerful. Bakugou runs in front of Deku, gets in front of Deku and sprints at him, saying, "Let's see how amazing they really are." He don't launch an explosion, he goes to like push Deku. And Bakugou begins moving in slow motion for Deku. Deku moves that way quite easily. For everyone else, this was quite impressive, that Deku moved at very quick speeds. And Bakugou nearly flew into the wall, but Deku ran at even faster speeds and caught him by his ankle. Deku realised that Bakugou felt insanely light for him, and he could see a weird energy coursing through Bakugou's body. And he sees it rushing towards his hand. He jumps backwards as Bakugou starts making little sparks. He goes, "Huh? How did you know I was going to make sparks?" Deku says, "I don't know." Of course, both Bakugou's mum and Deku's mum are called to get their checks evaluated. Mitsuki and Inku, who are best friends, show up together and they go, "Wait, you're here too?" Deku says, yeah, Deku's quirk awakened, and Mitsuki says, so does Bakugou's. Wow, their mothers are best friends, and so are the sons, who are awakening their quirk at the same time. That's going to be a story from their older. Inko laughs and says, yeah. As they're walking in, Mitsuki goes to Inko, didn't Deku's quirk awaken at birth? And she goes, yeah, but it quickly deactivated and he hadn't been able to use it since. I'm hoping now he'll be able to use it. And Mitsuki goes, huh, cool. When they walk in, Mitsuki goes, so it says eyes. And Inko goes, oh, I'm gonna miss his pretty green eyes. Hearing his mother say this, Deku's eyes return back to green, and he goes, I can control it. And she goes, oh, good. But he says it feels more natural for his eyes to be like purple, and she goes, if it's what you want, baby, do it. Strawberry water, guys, best type of water. They begin going to the hospital, and Deku's looking at the world. He's seeing colours he's never seen before. Everything seems so vibrant. Everyone has this weird sort of energy into them. Very small, and this is chakra, by the way, but no one can use chakra. But Deku, looking at his own hands, he has that energy, but in an abundance. And begins hearing in the back of his head a screaming noise. This causes Deku to pass out, but his mother doesn't know he's passed out. She just fell asleep and nowhere there. We go to Deku, who's now in front of this weird beast that has 10 tails with a red eye, screeching at him. Deku screams and runs backwards, saying, what are you? It screams again, but Deku gets overwhelmed with a sense of bravery, and he puts his hand up and says, shut up! A shockwave shoots out of Deku's hand and pins this 10-tailed beast against the wall. This made it very docile, as we all know this to be the 10 tails, and under Hagoromo's control, it was very calm and tamed, and it now recognises the chakra that Deku just used. That is still Hagoromo, just in a smaller form. It becomes very docile like a pet, and begins to allow Deku to use his chakra again. When this happens, Deku enters his 10 tails form. This is like when Obito and Madara absorbed it. They get that weird skin colour, and they get somewhat scaly. And they get their auras. When this happens, Deku's mother nearly swears, and she goes, what is that? Deku says, I don't know. But he quickly figures out how to deactivate and returns to normal. His mother ends up stepping on it and rushes to the hospital, getting there 10 minutes before Bakugou does. And they explain. Deku gets his quirk evaluated. First reaction times. Deku's reaction time is off the charts. And they begin making Deku run laps. Deku does it. He easily breaks the world record for normal people running it. They go, is that the fastest you can go? Deku says, no. And they begin speeding up. At this point, Deku looks like the Flash. He's running in laps, leaving after images. And the doctor's just stunned. They then test out how much weight Deku could lift. He was lifting 10 tons with ease, and the doctor decided to leave it there. Next, they wanted to test out Deku's eyes. They asked Deku, has he noticed anything weird with his eyes? And he says, yes, I can see you through that window. And that was meant to be a one-way glass. And they go, interesting. And he also says, I can also do this. He puts his hand up, and unknown to Deku, he uses Almighty Push. He doesn't know what it's called. And he breaks the wall and the wall next to it, and he breaks an entire hole through the entire building. Shocking the doctor, saying, incredible. Deku then uses Almighty Pull and actually ends up repairing the wall. And he goes, I can do it both ways. Anything else? And Deku says, I don't know. The doctor says, we're going to get you a sparring partner, Izuku Midoriya. And he goes, oh, okay, cool. In comes a doctor that can use a flame quirk, let's say. Not anywhere near as powerful as Endeavor, but he can still shoot Eat Blast, and if Deku doesn't manage to dodge it, he will just get a small burn. And he shoots at Deku. Deku does not at all dodge. He puts his hands up, and he ends up absorbing the fire. Deku feels this power rush through his body, and he puts his hand back out. He shoots fire back 10 times stronger. If you're wondering what this isn't he can absorb abilities and shoot it back out. This is just Deku absorbing fire and his nature release. His fire release getting awakened, making him able to use fire jutsus. Seeing this, the doctor's impressed, but they decide to end the test there. And as Deku's leaving, Bakugou shows up. Mitsuki says, you got here quick. And she explains how Deku's skin colour changed and she panicked. And she goes, ugh, anyway, what's his quirk? After hearing this, after Inko explains it, Mitsuki goes, wow, he's going to be strong. And Inko goes, yeah, I know. We now have a time skip to roughly about halfway through Deku's last year. Him and Bakugou are still best friends, and with Deku keeping Bakugou in check, Bakugou doesn't really become a bully, but he does have that mouth in him, and all due to Bakugou always getting into fights, Deku gets into fights with him. Bakugou clearly recognises Deku as the strongest, but he always thinks, I'm still going to be the number one hero. Deku's still an All Might fanboy. But he never had the bullying of being quirkless, as everyone recognises him as the strongest in the class. But he's still kind, caring, but one thing, there was something weird about Deku. He seemed to have the wisdom of a 1,000-year-old man. Easily acing his test, being able to give people life lessons. But at the same time, if you pissed him off, oh, there was hell to pay. And Deku and Bakugou were going home. Bakugou was staying at Deku's house that night. But something was weird. Deku, when they got to his door, Deku's door was kicked open and he felt another presence. He also felt fear. Him and Bakugou rushed into the house to see it got ransacked, and there was two people there. One of them holding a knife to his mother, and the other one putting stuff in the bag. They go, oh, the kids are home, and they rush at Bakugou and Deku. One of them pulls out the other knife and attempts to stab Bakugou. Bakugou panics, but he manages to launch an explosion, burning this villain's face, and he begins screaming, you bastards, you bastards, you bastards! And he rushes at Deku this time. Deku's seen his mother's pure fear, he's pissed. And before the knife can even reach Deku, Deku's eyes begin to glow a brighter purple, and his body gets absolutely destroyed, like blown backwards. Like, you know how, oh my god, I forgot his name. How do I forget? Gojo, that's it. How when he blinked and he blew the guy's arms under, that's what happened, and he flies backwards screaming. The man went to panic and he went to stab Inko, but Deku used almighty pull to drag the knife towards him. Bakugou seeing his aunt nearly get murdered, he's pissed, and before Deku can react, Bakugou flies past him and launches an explosion at this villain. But he seems to have like a self-enhancement quirk. He blocked Bakugou's explosion with little burns and begins to choke Bakugou. Deku says in a very dark, evil voice, saying, drop him. The man says, why would I drop him? You're just a He looks into Deku's eyes, and unknown to Deku, he places him under genjutsu, like Tsukiyomi, where he was tortured for 1,000 years. He drops Bakugou screaming, I'm sorry, I'll leave. No, call the police before he kills me. Inko's confused. Her son didn't do anything to him. But the look she saw on Deku's face was like something he's never seen before. Deku hunted with the 10,000 eye on him, screaming due to Deku's rage. Deku's skin returns to that similar colour, and a true Seeking orb appears next to him, creating a staff. Deku launches it at this robber, and it impales his stomach, and he attempts to go stab him, but Inko gets in the way just in time. Deku stops it, but he still lands a little cut on his mother's face, and he jumps back screaming, saying, I'm sorry. He rushes over and heals his mother's face. He didn't even know he could heal people, but he wanted to heal her, so he did. He says, it's fine, Izuku, but with your power, sometimes you need to learn to hold it back. Deku looks up, and his skin's returning back to normal, and he sees what he did to one robber. Justified. He was trying to kill Bakugou. And he sees the other one with a hole in his stomach. He says, yeah, I guess. The police show up, and after questioning them, they congratulate Deku, saying, your quirk must be amazing, and you protect your mother. These robbers were known to break into the house, and then we don't want to sugarcoat it. They were known to torture and kill their victims. Hearing this made Deku's blood boil, and one of the villains that were in the police car, half of his body burst into flames, the one that Deku stabbed in the stomach. Deku didn't mean to do this, it was just pure rage, and he makes the flame disappear. He takes a deep breath, and the police rush in, saying, he must have been trying to escape. That's an extra charge, you're going to prison for a long time. And this Deku smirks. So this is what it feels like to be a hero, to serve justice. He likes it. We now go to Deku's last day of the academy. And of course, they say, oh no, and two more plan to UA is Deku and Bakugou. Izuku and Bakugou. They both spot each other, sitting next to each other, and Bakugou says, "Damn right, you extras. Only me and Deku are getting to the UA." And the entire class goes, "Deku 100%. We don't know about you, Bakugou. You got a dirty attitude." If you're wondering why they spoke to him like this, Bakugou isn't really a bully. No one's really scared of him. They just know he can scrap. He's more friendly with everyone than anything. Getting called an extra by Bakugou was a compliment, and he goes, "What?" and he launches an explosion. They all start laughing. Deku holds Bakugou down, saying, "Relax, relax," and he calms down. We now go to Deku and Bakugou, who are walking home, and they both take a shortcut, just for Deku to get attacked by a slime villain. It wraps all around Deku's body, but Deku is not panicking. He's surveying the situation with his Rinnegan activated. Bakugou launches a massive explosion, blowing half the villain off Deku, allowing him to create a fireball in his hand, burning up the rest of him. The slime villain then launches at Bakugou. Deku gets in the way and using Almighty Push blasts it back, and he begins laughing, saying, "That's really all you got." By now, this time, All Might showed up and landed the finishing blow. He says, "Thank you, but you shouldn't have used your quirks." And Deku explains how the slime villain attacked him, and he says, "Oh, well, good on you, young man, for protecting your friends." He says it to both Bakugou and Deku. But both being All Might fanboys, when All Might went to jump away, they both grabbed onto him because All Might didn't give him an autograph. And when he realised that there's two people on him, he goes, "Oh, damn it," and he lands. They begin asking for an autograph, and to speed up the process, he gives them the autograph, and Deku didn't have a single question for him. Instead, All Might, he gives them autographs and attempts to jump away, but before he can jump, All Might begins to puff away in smoke, and his skinny form's revealed. Both Bakugou and Deku jump back. An imposter! Bakugou, being hot-headed, launches at All Might just for Deku to catch him. Although he doesn't look the same, Deku could sense his energy. That is the same All Might. And he says, "It's the same All Might, I just have a feeling." All Might then explains to Deku and Bakugou about blah blah blah, about his injury and all that, and Deku asks to see it. All Might shows it off, and Deku walks towards it, saying, I can heal with my quirk a little bit. Let me try it." All Might says, "You're free to, but even after thousands of the top healers trying to, they couldn't fix it." Deku places his hand on All Might's injury and begins healing it. It's very slow, but it's working. Almost like, "Incredible, you sure your quirk isn't healing?" Deku says, "No, my quirk is called 6 Pass. Because, I don't know, that's the easiest name I could think of, sorry." Deku begins experimenting with the energy he uses to activate his fire. That's the only ability he can use right now, by the way. With Deku using that ability to activate his energy he uses to activate his fire, he begins using that to heal instead, and the process gets sped up a lot. This is the second time Deku's used chakra in a way, and All Might's injury is half healed. That's when the explosion appears. All Might says, "You two stay here, we need to talk." But he realises it. They've jumped off to help people before even he did. Bakugou flying with explosion, and Deku just flying. Yes, Deku can fly. They finally get to the scene. They realise, wait a minute, that's the villain we just fought. They both realise that them jumping onto All Might's legs caused this. They caused these Innocent's life to be endangered. And they look up. Wait a minute. Isn't that Endeavor's son? We go to Todoroki. He's now stuck in the slime villain. He's trying to use his quirk, but it isn't working. Because he was caught by surprise. He's nearly unconscious now. Unlike Bakugou, who was managed to fire off a bit, he's completely stuck and mainly relying on ice, which isn't really affecting the slime villain that much. Deku and Bakugou seeing this rush past the heroes who weren't doing anything, and as they're trying to stop him, they don't listen. Bakugou very carefully blew up the bottom of it, so that the slime villain had less to bear on, and he recognised the two of them. No, not them two. They're even more terrifying than All Might. And Deku, using Almighty Pull, pulls Todoroki out of him. And then seeing that there's a bunch of slime still stuck inside his lungs, uses Almighty Pull very carefully to extract the slime. The slime villain then attempts to run away, but Deku ain't letting him. He activates his 10 toes energy, and using one of his truth-seeking orbs makes it spiral out in all directions, wrapping up the slime villain. Then he drags it towards him. Deku, holding his face, begins accidentally absorbing his energy, his soul. This is the ability of the Rinnegan. I'm gonna say instead of killing him, Deku begins absorbing his energy. And it's weird. He can't turn into slime, but he can create it. He activated a slime nature release. If you're wondering, yes, I pulled that out of my ass. But this is how I'm gonna make Deku overpowered. He feels like this weird energy aligns with his chakra. And he says, wait a minute, every time I end up absorbing something, I can use it in different ways. And he looks at Bakugou and says, later you're launching explosions at me. All Might arrives just in time. For him not even needing to blow away the slime villain, it's now knocked unconscious with most of its energy being absorbed out of him by Deku and wrapped up, restrained with something that he'll never be able to break. All Might grabbed onto the restraints, intending to snap them in half, realizing even he can't. And he says, that boy, he needs to be my successor. He's talking about Deku, by the way. But after it was all dealt with, All Might asked to speak to Bakugou and Deku, jumping him up to a building. And he explains about his quirk and all that, and he asks Deku to be his successor. Hearing this, Bakugou frowns a bit, saying, of course Deku's gonna get it. And Deku immediately says, no thank you. All Might says, what, why? He says, because I'm powerful enough as it is, and I like my own power, I don't want to take it from someone else. If you ask me, fanboy number 1 over here should get your quirk. And All Might says, I guess he does know about my quirk. He has a very useful explosion quirk that will only get powered up by one for all. And he rushed in without even a second thinking. Alright, young Bakugou, would you like to be my successor? Hearing this, Bakugou's eyes light up and he immediately agrees, taking on the quirk. And they both begin their training for UA. It's roughly about the first week of training. And thanks to Deku, Bakugou's training is going insanely quickly, as Deku keeps on healing Bakugou's body, meaning he gains muscle a lot quicker because his muscles get repaired and grow. And Bakugou, All Might can all go that crazy, like all out, because Deku can heal all of them. So the process they're making will be 5 times quicker than regular. Sorry guys. But Deku realised that he isn't getting any really experience from this. And that's when he remembers, hey Bakugou, launch an explosion at me. And Bakugou does. Deku absorbs it. And yet again he feels it explosions run through his veins. And he puts his hand up and he does exactly the same thing Bakugou did. This, if you're ever wondering when Deku absorbs it, he doesn't get a quirk. He awakens that type of chakra nature. There's fire, water, earth, wind and lightning. Deku so far has fire, slime, yeah, they're making custom ones, and explosion. And after seeing this, All Might gets very intrigued and asks Deku why his quirk is named 6 Paths. And All Might just asks Deku, why is his quirk... Oh, sorry guys, audio corrupted, I forgot where I was at. And Deku just says, I don't know why it's named that, it's what the doctors and me decided on because it felt right, and also, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have like these 6 main abilities. And All Might says, what is your ones right now? Deku says, well, super strength, healing, I can use some elements, I can fly, I can also do this weird push and pull ability. Actually no, and he means, okay, we're going to restart. It's, I can fly, super strength, I can heal. I have these, I can use like nature elements or like just elements like fire, water, not water, fire, explosions, like as you can see. And my eyes, I'm pretty sure I'm waiting for my last one. All Might goes, oh, interesting. And Deku goes, yeah. He's like, so what? How do you awaken your abilities? I just saw you absorb Bakugou's explosion and now you can use it. And Deku goes, yeah, for some reason whenever I absorb something I end up being able to use it. Deku shoots out a massive amount of slime, and due to his training he even turns his arm into slime, like the slime villain could, but not exactly on that level. He couldn't make his body massive like the slime villain could, but he can turn his body to slime to make it intangible. And I'm so sorry guys, let me turn that down, it's really annoying, ain't it? Oh my god, it's interesting. I can't help you today, but meet me tomorrow at this location after Bakugou training. I know some people who can help. Deku smiles and says, yeah, sure. that day happens, and Deku goes to meet All Might, and he goes to this weird training facility, not UA, not the hospital, somewhere private. All Might says, "This is my own private training facility." And Deku saw a number of pro heroes of all different types of quirk. And All Might says, "These all have a special, unique type of quirk, and I want to see if you can absorb it." First one who steps up is someone with a wind quirk, and they blast a huge shot of wind at Deku. Deku absorbs it and shoots a blast back. All Might has a massive smile on his face. This continues with electricity, water, earth, I think it's plasma, and I'm going to add more and more on. You guys comment down below what else other abilities you want to have. He even got different types of fires like green fire, pink fire, and Deku's favourite is black fire, as it felt similar to him, and as soon as he absorbed it, he felt another power unlock in his eye. All you guys know what it's going to be, but shh. So we have a whole day of Deku absorbing these attacks and unlocking the nature affinities. Deku thought this has been the most successful day of training in his life. Deku then, at home, does his own training. He begins to meditate and enters his own mind. He goes to the Ten Tails, and it just screeches and roars like usual. Deku sits down and begins to meditate. He feels the Ten Tails chakra link with him, and he just starts to build a connection, slowly, step by step. He does this every day during his training, helping Bakugou with his. And eventually, through step by step by step, the screeches become mutters of words. Eventually, Deku can understand the Ten Tails. And the first word he fully understood was pain. After Deku managed to build a connection with the Ten Tails, it's almost like the Ten Tails began sharing Deku's intelligence, being able to finally speak and talk. It says, "Master." Deku says, No, Master. My name's Izuku." Ten Tails goes, "Izuku." And Deku says, yeah, he's treating the Ten Tails like a child right now. But unknown to Deku, this Ten Tails is going to mature very quickly. Within the span of 3 days, it was able to hold full conversations. And Deku began to ask him about its previous life. Ten Tails says to him, it's a bit... By the way, you guys decide whether you want it to be a girl or boy. The Ten Tails says it's a bit blurry, but there was this white woman, and I had to protect her. And there was also this man who you give me a similar energy of. That was my old master. And then after that, there was this other man with long black hair who who absorbed me. But then the woman came back after that, and there was this boy with yellow hair. I remember him mainly. And Deku says, "Oh, cool. Anyway, I just want to work on getting stronger and become a hero. Do you think you could help me with that?" Ten Tails says really emotionally, "Master gets what Master wants. I do not have a choice." Deku tells it to shut up with talking like that. It's its own life. It can say no if it really wants to. They're friends, not master and servant. Hearing this, the Ten Tails' one eye lights up a bit, and he goes, "Friends?" Deku goes, "Yeah, it's two people who care about one each other and help each other out." The Ten Tails has a weird smile in its face and says, "Yeah, friends. I'd love to help you get stronger, Izuku." Deku goes, "Cool, so how could you do that?" Before Deku can even get all his the first of the sentence out, he feels power flood like through him. And he goes, "Like this." Deku opens his eyes and he feels an insane amount of energy pouring out of his back. He looks behind him and about 10 orbs are on his back, black orbs. And he goes, "What are these?" The Ten Tails says to him, "I don't really know, but I know they're powerful. And you can mould them at will." Here in this, Deku attempts it. One of the balls float. Literally, Deku just needs to think and it happens. And it becomes a staff right in front of him. When Deku touches it, the long staff changes and it gains these 6 rings. Deku feels the insane amount of resonance and power coming from this. And the Ten Tails says to him, "That's no longer a truth-seeking orb. That's not an A. That's the Shakujo. It's what my old master used to use. From what I remember, any sort of energy or chakra it comes into contact with gets completely erased or disabled." Naruto goes, "Chakra? What's chakra?" The Ten Tails goes, "You don't know what chakra is?" And Naruto goes, no, you mean quirk? The Ten-Tail shares his memory with Deku and says, so your world's version is quirks. No, you have a run-down version of chakra. You can't use multiple types. Well, not everyone else can, but you can. You only have one sword, but due to it being so run down, it becomes a lot more simplistic and you don't need hand signs. Interesting. Deku says, chakra and ninjutsu, what? He ends up sharing what memories the Ten-Tails can muster, and he sees that all these hand signs and these jutsus and all these different types, and he goes, so everyone has chakra, it's like the energy I can see. The Ten-Tails goes, yeah, now you're catching on. And he goes, interesting, so what if I used that? What if I used them hand signs? And the Ten-Tails goes, well, if you have the same power as my previous master, I guess after you did the hand signs, you'd be able to use the ability without the hand signs. Deku goes, interesting, how would I get them? The Ten-Tail shares a few of them that he or she remembers. I might make it a she, you know. The Ten-Tail shows some that she remembers with Naruto. And what these ones are is very simplistic, like fireball jutsu, Chidori, a way of making a Rasengan. But it cannot show a lot. But one thing it did manage to show of Naruto was yin and yang, because that is what the Ten-Tails is made up of. And with this, Naruto gains some other abilities we'll go over later. Naruto immediately sprints off to his computer, and he says it's a bit slow. He thinks, what if he summons his staff again and he places it on his laptop, and he realises he can edit its very matter, and he changes it from a simple laptop to a quantum mechanic PC, mate. It's insanely quick, insanely powerful, and it's supplied by Naruto's chakra. It's powered by Naruto's chakra. And it's linked directly to his brain. Or his chakras, shall we say it. Naruto looks up a bunch of jutsus, old time jutsus, and he can barely find any. He finds something called a Kage Bushin, and he does the hand signs, and he sees that a clone creates of himself. Afterwards, he tests out the theory. He desummons the clone, and without using hand signs, he creates 10 of them. He smirks, thinking, yes, progress. He spends the entire night finding up jutsus, and he even finds the base hand signs required, and even begins making his own jutsus. He ends up managing to create of water, fire, earth, lightning, all them type of dragons. He begins working on a jutsu that will change the weather. He can get it to rain, but he can't get it to be sunny, so he works on that even more. After being able to create a water dragon, Naruto can freely manipulate water, fire, and all them lot with ease. He can create it, and now he can manipulate it. And as such, Naruto then stumbles upon another sort of old text, but he couldn't really understand it. Something about sage energy or nature energy, but he chose to ignore that for now. We now have a little time skip to his last day of training. In this fight, it was going to be a 1v1v1. Actually, it was going to be Deku and Bakugou versus All Might. Deku begins. He begins by watching the situation. If you're wondering, Deku's fully healed All Might by now. So there's no countdown on how long he can stay in his buff form, but he is still losing one form. And Bakugou, with Deku's help, can access right now roughly about 10% of one form, due to his muscle mass actually growing quite a bit faster than it should, due to Deku being able to heal him. And as such it begins. Bakugou jumps straight to 10% and sprints at All Might. He throws a punch, and when All Might feels the force, he's quite impressed with it, saying, yes, you're going to be one of the greatest heroes. Deku disappears into the shadows, using a camouflage technique he learned, and instead sends out a shadow clone to fight. All Might gets quite confused, as Deku's back fighting style, what he's seen, is never like this. He's a lot more smart. This is, for All Might I would say, this Izuku's leaving a lot more openings. And All Might decides to play in the opening. He throws it, and Deku decides to throw a little punch. He slips, so All Might, instead of hitting his side, would hit him directly in his face, and the head flies off. All Might's heart stops. He screams, no, I'm so, and then the clone just poofs. he gets confused, and Deku comes out laughing from the shadow, saying, "You like my new ability? I can make clones." He summons up 100 of them, and the All Might jaw drops, saying, "What? 100? Not even the top heroes can make 100 clones that quickly." And he sends them all flying at All Might. Bakugou already knew about this ability, as Deku let him know beforehand, so Bakugou's working intangibility with it. Some of the clones transform into Bakugou to throw All Might off. And so he couldn't tell by Bakugou's electricity. Some of the clones use lightning style to create exactly the same electricity. All Might got very thrown off at this point because he didn't know what clones he needed to block for the insane strength and what clones that he didn't. That's when it happens. Deku, with the Ten Tails guidance, controls his chakra a bit better, and he throws a punch that would have insane strength behind it. And All Might feels insane strength, and he's saying, "What? That should be a minimum of 8%. This has to be Bakugou," and he slaps it. But the clone just poofs. That's when the real Bakugou comes out from the side and decks All Might hard round the face. And both Bakugou and Deku smirk. All Might says, "Okay, enough." His jaw is actually bruised, and he says, "You proved your point. You're ready for UA." And as such, the next day, they go to UA. They both walk in together. Everyone who looks at him notices that they both give off a weird energy. Deku gives off an energy of someone you don't mess with because he's just someone you'll never beat. And Bakugou gives off the energy you don't want to mess with them because they will fuck you up. And when I mean Deku someone you'll never beat, like, he won't beat the shit out of you. He's just someone who's going to be impossible to beat. Well, Bakugou is someone, you won't beat him and you're going to get hurt in the process. But Deku also gave off the aura of an old man. Anyway, Deku easily aces his written test, and Bakugou passes it. Remember, Bakugou isn't stupid, but he doesn't ace like Deku does. But he still passes like one of the tops. And then we go to the training room, or the brief room, where President Mike is giving the speech, and Deku's sitting there meditating instead. And Ida interrupts the whole thing, saying, "Excuse me, but if you're going to sleep, I don't think you belong to this school. Others here have given their life to training, determined to be the best of the best, and you're sleeping." Deku opens his eyes, flashing his Rinnegan. Ida feels a bit intimidated, but he doesn't back down. He says, "Do you think I'm scared of you? I'm from the Tenure family." And Deku just goes, "Can you please shut the fuck up? I'm meditating. There's a difference between meditating and sleeping. Believe it or not, I'm confident with the training I've done. I put in all the effort to be confident. So yes, I'm still listening. You're the one interrupting it. So listen, if I was you, I'd shut up and sit down." Ida gets offended. "How dare you say that to me? Do you not know who I am?" And Bakugou appears behind him and puts his hand on his shoulder. And he whispers in Ida's ear, saying, "Can you just fucking piss off, you extra?" He begins heating up his hand, and Ida feels his shoulder burn. He slaps Bakugou's hands off him and says, "How dare you?" He gets ready to kick Bakugou. Deku grabs him by his collar and lifts him up into the air. And he says, "I suggest you leave." And he chucks him across the room and makes him land on his back. And he says, "You're not going to leave, shut up." And he summons up a true seeking orb and puts it and makes it go into a star form really sharp. And he puts it next to Ida's throat. "Oh, I swear to God, I will slash your throat here." Ida sits down embarrassed and scared. We then go to the entrance exam. Deku and Bakugou are in the same place and they begin competing. All Might pull strings for this. They begin racing through all the robots to try and one after the other. Deku's leading with 10 points, but Bakugou amped up from 5% to 10% and begins catching up very quickly. Deku, instead of using his strength, now begins activating his other abilities, sending fire everywhere, then lightning, then wind, then ice. And eventually, there was a big group, about, 50 robots. Bakugou and him both flew towards it, and Deku says, nah, mine. He activates black flames and launches it directly at the robots. He gets about 40 of them, and Bakugou says, "Damn it." And using an explosion amped up by 1 for all, he sends a massive explosion destroying the other 10. That's when it happens. The ground begins to shake, and they see the massive 0-pointer. Everyone starts running, but Bakugou and Deku don't. They look at it and start smiling. That's when it happens. An alarm goes off saying, there's been a malfunction. Please leave the area immediately." That's when 2 other 0-pointers appear. They left the other exam areas and begin targeting Deku. This is because Deku gave off an energy that interfered with the robots' navigation. But Deku and Bakugou went instead. They were ready to fight until they heard a scream, "Please, help me!" And they see that a girl with brown hair was stuck underneath it. Deku told Bakugou to deal with the first one, he'll get the girl. And Bakugou, using his explosion, flies up and powers up a massive explosion, like the biggest one he can muster, and shoots it directly down on the robot. And Deku saves her just in time, using a truth seeking orb to shield him from some of the explosion. That robot gets fried, and all the heroes are quite impressed, saying he must be the strongest. That's when Deku, after placing Uraraki down, says, "To my time to shine." He summons up his staff, and he extends it to the point it's very, very long. And he jumps up and spins it around, decapitating one of the other robots. And then he flies down. He enhances his strength and covers his fist in electricity and fire. And he punches the robot. It literally gets compressed like a pancake. And all the teachers are insanely impressed. And we got a lot of new, powerful rookies this year. Deku ends up finishing first, with Bakugou in a close second. And All has a massive smile on his face, saying the future generation has a bright future. An even bigger smile, because he imagined All for his face when he has to deal with these two. Not just one who's insanely powerful, but someone who can rival the strength of One for All as well. After completely acing the entrance exams, Bakugou and Deku went home. And this time there was a sleepover at Bakugou's house. They both went home ecstatic. Yes, we aced that, we had to get in, no matter what. And halfway before they get home, All Might pulls up next to them in a car. And he jumps out and he runs and hugs both of them. He's saying, "You did it, you did it, you did it! I've never seen such an amazing performance, even from myself in my prime." They both begin to smirk. But all of a sudden, Deku starts screaming in agony. He drops to the floor holding his chest, just screaming out in pure pain. And he begins actually crying for help. All Might and Bakugou grab and crush him. All Might goes into his bathroom and jumps to the hospital, while Deku falls unconscious. He falls into his own mind. And he's walking around in this empty black pitch. He screams for the Ten Tails. And he says, "Ten Tails, where are you? Where are you?" But nothing. And he hears a laugh saying, "Ha ha ha. Don't worry, young man, you're fine. Sorry, I didn't mean to cause you such extreme pain. You was a lot stronger than I thought, so me ripping your soul had a bit of a fight back. Next time, I'll make sure to be careful." Deku looks in front of him, and he sees an old man with the same eyes as him. He, for some reason, feels like he's looking in a mirror, although they both look completely different. And he goes, "Wait, who are you?" We all know this to be Hagoromo, the sage of the sixth path in the Naruto universe. And he goes, "Well, you're my reincarnation. I'm the Ten Tails' pre-go master that she always talks about. I'm the sage of the sixth path, Hagoromo." Deku goes, "So you're who I used to be? Huh, I thought I would have looked a bit more cool." Hagoromo laughs and says, "Cool. I completely revolutionised the ninja world, gaining the ability to use chakra. How dare..." "Ugh, don't worry. I understand what you're talking about. You're a teenager, aren't you?" Deku says, "Yeah, but anyway, why did you want me?" Hagoromo says, "Well, in truth, it's because for some reason the reincarnation messed up and you only have about 20% of your true power. And I have still been able to pass on. But if I'm being honest, the reason I wanted to pass on was mainly sheer boredom. Yes, the ninja world that I created is such a nice thing to watch for the first 100,000 years. Not the first 100,000, for the first 1,000 years. But when it becomes the 10,000, it gets a bit boring. But this world is so different, and your life that you're living seems to be full of excitement. So I'm being honest, I'll give you your full power, but I'm also going to stick around. Because I can help you learn how to use the Ten Tails till its fullest." And Naruto says, "I don't use her, we're friends." This caught Hagoromo off guard, saying, "You're friends with the Ten Tails?" Naruto goes, "Yeah, at first she was just a yapping dog in my head. But we managed to build a sort of mental connection, and I can understand her." This catches Hagoromo off guard. That wasn't even something he could do. But the next generation always overpowers the first. Or the previous. And he goes, anyway, here's your original power. Deku wakes up in hospital before being able to get in another word. Inko, Mitsuki, All Might, Bakugou were all there in tears. As what just happened then? They got told Deku was dead. His heart stopped for at least 10 seconds. And the doctors all around are all rushing around saying, he's alive, he's back. They put a mask in his face and Deku just rips it off saying, I'm fine. He sits up, he feels this new energy coursing around his body. What is this? Deku feels this new type of energy that's getting absorbed from the environment around him. And Hagurama goes, that's what you call sages, that's what you call 6-path sage mode. Deku smatters saying, cool, and Hagurama says, you have other abilities now, as you might notice if you look in your reflection and activate your Rinnegan. Naruto does so, and he sees his Rinnegan's now red and it has these weird swells in it. Now Hagurama says, those are Tomoe. Every single one of them have a different ability. Naruto goes, I have 12 of them. And Hagurama goes, precisely. He jumps up and he says, my body feels stronger. And he jumps up testing it out and he breaks through the roost and he holds his head going, ow. Wait a minute, that didn't hurt. And he says, Bakugou, grab that knife and stab me. Bakugou does not question it, as he's learned Deku doesn't do stuff without a reason. Inko screams, no! Mitsuki says, don't you dare! And he rushes up and he stabs him. This knife snaps on Deku. And he goes, so that's what it is. Everyone there is confused. What do you mean that's what it is? Explain. He goes, my heart didn't stop. I think my body evolved and went under a metamorphosis. I feel powerful. Hearing this, Bakugou smirks, saying, how powerful? And he lunges at Deku using 10%. For Deku, Bakugou is moving in slow motion. And he puts his finger up and blocks the punch and he says, that powerful, Bakugou. Seeing this, well, not everyone's shocked. All Might and Deku, All Might and Bakugou are shocked, as they're the only ones who understand what power this punch had behind it. And they both go, training now. Inko says, don't you dare, and she slaps him. How dare you die and then think I'm going to let you leave? You don't get to do this to me, I'm your mother. And Deku says, you're my mother, and you slap me. I believe in equal rights, equal fights. You're lucky I love you. I would have rocked your shit just then. Inko gets caught off guard saying, you've never sworn in front of me. And he calms down and says, Mum, people change. I'm not the same little boy that you need to coddle. Ask All Might. I could take him on. And All Might agrees, saying, 100% Deku would win. Hearing this, Mitsuki face and Inko's face just go, what? And All Might says, also, Mitsuki, Bakugou is my successor. And she goes, what? And All Might says for both of them, you don't give your sons enough credit. They're insanely powerful. I have a guarantee these two are going to be the next number 1 and number 2 heroes. I don't know who yet, as yes, Deku's powerful, but Bakugou is growing at an insane rate. Hearing this, although they're scared for their kids, they're proud. And she says, fine, but you come home straight after whatever you're doing. And Deku says, for sure. He grabs onto Bakugou and All Might and teleports. They get to the beach they normally have their sparring session. I mean, All Might's facility. I don't know why I did that. All Might's facility. And they go, wait, you can teleport? Deku says, I think so. It just felt right. He goes, so that's one of my new abilities. They begin sparring. They soon realise that even if Bakugou lands a 10% punch, he does no damage. And up to 80%, All Might's punches don't do anything to Deku either. Also, Deku can move faster than light at this point. Like, All Might 100% still looks like slow motion to him when he has his Rinnegan activated. And he gets really bored. But during their training, Deku slips up a bit. And All Might throws a powerful, devastating right hook. And he says, damn it, I can't block. Think. Wait, use my chakra to make a shield. Deku attempts to do this until a rib cage appears around him and blocks All Might's punch. He goes, what is this? This is a light blue rib cage, by the way. For those hardcore Naruto fans, you know this is a Susanoo. Hagurama says the same thing. That's my Susanoo, well, our Susanoo. It's the most powerful defense you will ever see. Unable to be damaged through it unless it's a force strong enough. And it's powered by chakra, and you can evolve it. Naruto smiles and says, interesting. A hand shoots out from the top right, a skeletal hand, and he pins Bakugou down and says, Nah, this is still the first stage, you know. And he says, I do like this. We now get a time skip for like 2 months, my bros, where Deku gets to his first day in UA along with Bakugou, because he is a hoe. He gets put on 10 toes. Oh my god, what am I doing? This is what COVID does to you. This is what COVID does to you. But anyways, they both walk in, and everyone just looks at them saying it's them two, the ones who got top place. And they ignore the stairs. As they're walking, they both get the glass at the same time, and Ida rushes over, saying, I demand and a put! Deku boots him in his face, saying, I'll piss off, learn your lesson, you're not any better than the rest of us. Everyone wondering, yes, in this what if Ida's a proper fucking snob. He thinks he's top tier hero shit because his family come from a line of heroes and all that. But in reality, he's nothing compared to Deku and Bakugou. Ida sits up holding his nose saying, how dare you, do not know. Deku appears in front of him and just right hooks him like bow, 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 bow. Of course, with not any real force behind it, he didn't use any power. But it's still enough to give him a few bruises, and he grabs Ida by his collar and says, for the last fucking time, I do not give a fuck if you're from a hero family. This is UA, it doesn't matter what your background is. Did you get top place in the exam? No you didn't, so why are you giving me chat? You're just a fucking snob, mate. Do it again, and I swear to God, you're gonna lose your legs. Deku grabs onto it and he crushes one of Ida's legs and heals it straight away. So Ida begins to scream, you broke my leg! You broke my leg! Because he still doesn't realise it's been healed. And all the class rush over, how could you? And Deku goes, he's being a drama queen. As Awa sits up, he was just watching this, but if Deku really broke his leg, that's straight away exclusion. He rushes over and he sees Ida's legs completely fine and he says, were you faking it to get him excluded? And he goes, no, I promise you, it was broken, I promise. Deku leans down in front of him and grabs onto his hand and says, he's like holding it like you do when you're being kind. And he says, why would you try to get me excluded? Deku activates fire on Ida's hand. He begins to burn it to like its bone. He screams, my hand, my hand. Deku heals it straight away. You burnt my hand, and he rips it out and it's completely fine. He goes, wait, what? Aizawa says, Ida, I expected better from your hero family. He says this to rub in or like salt into the wounds. If you're gonna brag about being a hero family, at least keep up with it. Aizawa says straight away, you two seem like you'll be trouble to Bakugou and Deku. Bakugou says, what? I didn't even do anything. How am I trouble? He's the one who got into a fight. Aizawa says, don't think I didn't see you with your explosions ready to jump in. Bakugou has a weird smile and says, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. And Aizawa says, well anyway, we're going to have a fitness test. Get to the training field. Yuraka does her usual, but what about the enchanted ceremony? And Bakugou says, if you want to be a hero, do you really think that we're going to have time for a ceremony? If you're welcome to, go join them, but when you're complaining about the rest of the class being one step ahead of you in every little thing, ain't my fault. But yes, they go out to the training course, and the first one is, well, today we are going to do, well, Aizawa says, well, we're going to test your quirk aptitudes. So, who got first place here? It was you, Azuki, wasn't it? Come throw this ball. Deku steps up and Bakugou rushes in saying, nope, I'm doing it. Deku says, feel free to, I don't want to do it anyway. Bakugou steps up because he still wants everyone to be amazed by his quirk. Because he knows if Deku goes first and gets that top score, it's not going to really sit in how amazing Bakugou's score actually is. So he does it first. And he does exactly what Deku does with One for All in the canon. And puts it on his finger. And he chucks it, but before it can get too far away, literally just as he lets it go, he powers up an insanely powerful explosion. Like 100 times more powerful than in canon, and he launches out bitch flying. And it goes to 10,000 kilometers. Or 10,000 meters, whatever it was in canon, whatever measurement it was in canon, it was now 10,000. And everyone goes, wow, amazing, 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 that was just incredible, I'm so impressed. Then Deku steps up and he says, I'm about to make this go out of this world. He chucks the ball using his full strength. It goes flying. He puts his hand up and says, almighty push. The ball, they clearly see the ball speed up insanely. And then finally, he summons up a True Seeking Orb and he slings it flying after the ball, coating it and makes it fly out of the atmosphere. Getting infinity, and the True Seeking Orb comes back down without the ball. I mean, with the ball as well. Aizawa goes, impressive, you got infinity and you also managed to get us the ball back. That's double. Infinity times 2. That's the score Deku gets. The class goes infinity times 2. That's a bit of a drag, ain't it? Deku smirks saying, thanks. The rest of the activities, Deku gets first place in every little thing. Like, to the point it was stupid. Bakugou gets second in everything as well. And I feel really sick. 1 second. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna be sick. And I'm back. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's a little bit sick. But after this, the day finishes. Everyone introduces themselves to Deku and Bakugou, trying to get on good terms with the two most likely to graduate first and second. That's their nicknames. The two most likely to graduate top and second. But they never specify who, because they all know Bakugou will get pissed. The next day was Heroes vs Villains training arc. And it goes as such. It was Bakugou and Ida versus Deku and Uraraka. If you're wondering why I keep on stuttering and repeating myself, I don't feel well. COVID is not nice, guys. My head. I'm trying to open my eyes, but the PC's light's actually hurting. But anyway, and it begins. Deku rushes through the building, and Bakugou and him both make a turn at the same time. Bakugou sends a massive explosion at Deku, and Deku just runs through it, not affecting them, and he decks Bakugou in the nose and keeps on running. Bakugou ends up chasing after him, as Deku gets into the room just in time to see Ida. He does not go for the bomb, he lunges at Ida and starts beating him about the room. Everyone who watches this knew Deku was holding a grudge and he just wanted to beat on Ida. He slaps him into a wall and rugby tackles him through the wall. Bakugou finally gets into the room and sees what he's doing, starts laughing, saying, damn it Deku, you're fast with me. He charges at Deku, actually tackling him with Ida. And Ida jumps up and uses his full power kick and boots Deku in the face. Seeing this, everyone got shocked, including Bakugou. As Deku's expression changed, his green eyes became a purple Rinnegan. No one's seen his Rinnegan yet, by the way. And he says, how dare you lay your fucking feet on me? He grabs Bakugou by his face and slams him into the ground, sending him to the bottom of the building. Bakugou lands on his back and activates 10% to jump back up. Not before Deku has already used Almighty Pawn Ida to choke slam him, activated one of his True Seeking Robs and broke Ida's legs. All Might's thinking about stopping it, but he knows if he does, Deku's going to beat the shit out of him. And Deku's absolutely pummeling Ida all about, to the point even Kirishima says over the man, that's not manly, dude, stop. Deku says, that's not manly. Okay, let me show you this. He controls Ida's body to use that same force of the kick that he used on him on the wall, and absolutely obliterates it. Ida's plan there was to actually hurt Deku seriously. He didn't know how tough Deku actually was. And he says, if I wasn't as strong as I was, if that was anyone else, that kick would have killed you. Seeing this, Kirishima shuts up, and he looks Ida in the eye saying, kill me? I'm gonna make you wish you're dead. And he puts him in a genjutsu, watching his whole family get murdered by Deku millions of times. He snaps out of it saying, he killed my family, arrest him, I'm in charge, call the police, he killed all my family. Seeing this, everyone just looked at Ida as if he was trying to drag it, get Deku arrested. And Deku laughs, and he punches Ida in the chest, breaking his rib, and touches the bomb. And he looks at Bakugou saying, oops, sorry, I got pissed off. And he blows a fireball at Bakugou, which Bakugou has to counter with an explosion. We now go to Deku. After this, you just launched a fireball at Bakugou, and Bakugou had to counter. Bakugou goes, what the fuck, Deku, what are you doing? And Deku goes, You pissed me off. And he rugby tackles Bakugou through the building. Actually out of the building, and they begin falling. They both begin laughing. Everyone else thinks they're fighting seriously. Even All Might does. And everyone rushes out the building. Deku pins Bakugou, and they're now wrestling on the ground, trying to get someone in like a headlock. And when they come out, they all go to split up just to see them both laughing. And despite them scrapping, everyone recognised it as they're really good friends. Deku finally manages to submit Bakugou, and Bakugou sends a massive explosion, like directly. Everyone thought, no, Deku's dead! And Deku's just seen flying off Bakugou, laughing, and slams into another building. After watching this, everyone's thinking, what the fuck are them two? They're monsters, bro. But it wasn't enough to stop me, Mr. Bean. I am so sorry, guys. I am on a weird one today. I need to go listen to what I just said. I don't even know what I said. Guys, I've said it in my last video. I don't know what's going on. I've just got more comfortable making YouTube videos, and I keep on fucking about in them. Literally, as I've said, I'll read the comments on this one and the next one and a few ones later. If you want it more, just what ifs, just say it. I will not get offended. I'll make another channel or something to fuck about on. But yes, Deku is now a different type of person, I guess. I mean, he's a different breed to them. After the other ones do their tests, we have a little time skip. A week goes past, and it's now the what's it called? I forgot the name. I'll go look it up and I'll be back in a minute. I'm back, and Azara announces to the class that there's going to be a USJ training facility trip. And Deku goes, yes, USJ. And Deku starts laughing. It gets explained that this is the most top-notch training facility in the country, with multiple different courses with lava, water, like fire, wind. Just anything you can think of, it's there, and they're going to go train there. Deku's thinking, sweet, I get a chance to practice. After this, we now go, they now get to the USJ training facility. And in truth, Deku gets out and thinks, it's a lot bigger than I thought it'd be. And they walk in. They get here about 10 minutes earlier, so Deku runs about the place and checks it out. Wow, incredible, a bunch of places. He goes to the lava place first, and he says, I wonder. He slams his hand down in the lava, and Bakugou and Kirishima were with him, and Bakugou, even though he's used to it, panicked at first. He said, wait, Deku, what are you? Oh, I forgot. Kirishima, not knowing, panics and says, Izuku, what are you doing? Deku looks up with a massive smile on his face, saying, calm down, mate. He pulls his hand out, and it's just lava. Kirishima rushes over, activates his harden, and begins brushing away the lava, to see Deku's hand's completely fine, and it becomes lava again. He gets confused, and Deku goes, shh, keep this a secret, this is one of my abilities. Look, anything I can touch or absorb, I can then create. He shoots a massive lava blast at a rock, completely melting it, and he smiles. Kirishima just gets astounded, saying, damn, you really are the main character. Deku goes, Nani? How dare you break the 4th wall? And I'm going to go back on topic, guys. Sorry, I keep on doing it! And Kirishima is just thinking in his head, he's really strong. I need to train a lot harder to keep up with him. Oh, I got a bit of extra strawberry chewing gum, but I want to eat it so bad. But if I eat it, you're just going to hear. And then Deku. But then they go back to the main area as they're getting assigned their groups. And while they show up, Kirishima goes, wow, this place is so realistic. Lava, waterfalls, and even fake villains. Hearing this, Azawa goes, wait, what? And he turns around to see the League of Villains. Well, not League yet. He sees villains attacking. He tells 13, protect the students. And Kurogiri appears and attempts to teleport everyone, including Deku. But for some reason, the teleportations don't work on Deku. With his Rinnegan activate, he just stares into Kurogiri's soul. And he can't at all touch Deku. Deku gets really bored of him touching everyone, and he yells, almighty push, blowing Kurogiri to smithereens for now, and also blowing away his main body. So Kurogiri's not dead, he's just blown, like, separate, he needs to gather. A lot of Class 1A got blown away. The only ones left are, Denki, Kirishima, Todoroki, and Bakugou. Actually, Todoroki gets clarted as well. You know what? The only one left is Bakugou. The rest of them all got sent away. And Zawa says, "You kids run!" Deku begins laughing, saying, "Why am I gonna run from these fannies?" Sheena Shigaraki says, "What? Get him!" 20 villains go to attack Deku, and Deku with ease summons up his staff. I forgot his name. Sage of the Six Paths. I'm just gonna say staff, and you guys will understand what it is. He summons up his staff and he swings it around. He creates a chakra blade and it slices everyone there. Not that deadly, but it cuts them bad. Some of them, once you got caught by this, lost a limb, or they got their stomach cut, and they start screaming. Shigaraki goes, "What? Impossible!" Azara as well starts scrapping, as well as Bakugou, activating 10%. This 10% is, remember, if you've watched the show, but I see when Deku fought against Bakugou, he only used 8%. So imagine that, but with a 2% add-on to it. Bakugou is fucking people up. And Deku's just watching. Anyone who dared to attack him, he would end them in seconds. And Shigaraki's entire force got wiped out in a matter of 20 seconds. He thinks, no, this ain't fair, this ain't fair. And that, guys, I'm gonna go on a little rant quick. When Shigaraki says it isn't fair, it pisses me off so fucking much. Now, I was raised with, when I said to my parents, it ain't fair, my mum said life ain't fair, get over it. So now when I hear someone else say it, I'm just thinking, what do you mean it ain't fair? You attacked them and they fucked you up and you're pissed off about them fighting back. Oh, you know what, I'm gonna stop it because I won't stop. And Deku, who shares my feelings on this, says, life ain't fair, you fucking wet wipe. And he smacks Shigaraki around the face, sending him flying. Shigaraki says, Nomu, get him. Before Deku can react, Nomu appears next to him and hits him hard. Deku's like, this is harder than All Might. And he gets sent flying backwards. Shigaraki says, yes, how do you like that? He's absolutely confused. I'm not even going to say devastated because it won't work. As Deku gets out of the crater that he made completely unscathed. And he says, okay, my turn. He rushes at the Nomu and hits him hard. He hits him hard enough to negate the shock absorption and he sends him flying into the ceiling. He then teleports next to him and grabs him by his legs and spins him, slamming him into the ground. The Nomu screams, but Deku says, oh, fuck off, you fanny. He activates his staff and stabs it into the Nomu, negating all of his quirks, and the Nomu becomes a puddle. Shigaraki says, what? And Deku goes, didn't expect that, so this was built off of a quirk. Good thing I can completely cancel out, and if I want to, destroy quirks. Yes, I decided that if Deku wants to, with the staff, he can completely destroy your quirk. He's got that little overall bullet, but in his staff. Shigaraki begins shitting bricks as Deku's slowly walking towards him with like a smile just to mess with him, like a creepy smile. Shigaraki's screaming, no, stay away from me, master, help! And that's when it happens. A red portal appears and Deku gets decked hard across the face, sending him flying into a building. If you're wondering by now, yes, Ida has left, as Deku said to him, this is your chance, mate, to get some redemption, to show everyone you're not just some snob. And ASMR, guys. I'm drinking a can of Coca-Cola. But, yeah. Deku, then, he stands up and he's like, that punch hurt. Deku's actually hurt by this. And he feels his jaw, he feels it's really loose. And he steps out and Bakugou goes, Deku, your jaw. And he looks in the reflection of the water and he goes, you broke my jaw, you dislocated it. And one foot was, actually, I can heal that for you if you want. Deku grabs his jaw and he sets it back into place and it heals instantly. And he goes, nah, I got it. Seeing this one for all goes, haha, impressive. I see why Shigaraki needed help and my Nomu defeated it so easily. You, what's your quirk? Deku just said, Sage of Six Paths. One for All says, interesting, that quirk will be mine. One for All tries to absorb in Deku's quirk and it does not work at all because, don't forget, Deku's quirkless. But one thing he does do, in fact, Deku can feel his chakra slightly get absorbed because remember, these quirks are actually just a type of chakra. So One for All can't absorb quirks, or what he can. He can absorb it to a base level, but he can also absorb chakra. But Deku can straight away block this with his running gun. And One for All goes, what? I can't absorb it. Interesting. This is an anomaly we don't want to deal with. Deku begins laughing, saying, by the way, All Might's coming back soon and his injury's healed. Hearing this, One For All goes, "What? His injury? Impossible." Deku goes, "Yeah, I got a healing quirk still. I can heal with my quirk." And One For All goes, "You're dangerous. I need to end you now." He launches a bunch of them black rods at Deku, and Deku just summons up his truth-seeking orbs to block them. These red like spikes instantly break when coming into contact with it, and Deku teleports in front of One For All, uppercutting him through the ceiling. He flies up, and this fire gets taken to the sky. One For All is absolutely astounded by how this brat, who's barely even started UA, is actually putting up a fight against him. And Deku's just laughing the entire time. "Is this all you got? You're the #1 villain, you can't do nothing against a child. You should be ashamed of yourself." One For All goes, "You damn brother." But he takes a deep breath and says, "You damn child, why don't you come join me? You see, we want to change this world from the foundation. Taking away this hero society, plummeting the world into chaos, and this world shall know pain." Naruto says, "Okay, calm down, Nagato." Deku has no clue who Nagato is, but he has the memories of the Sage of the Six Paths. He knows who Nagato is, so it just popped in his head. And Hagurama goes, "Kids, stop using my memories for a comment that no one else will understand." Deku laughs and says, "Well, if you really want to fight me, I guess I'll go full power." One For All's confused. Is this brat not fighting with full strength? And he'd even managed to blow him back. Incredible. He must be All Might's successor. That's when it happens. Bakugou appears, flying up with an explosion, with a 10% punch, and punches him. One For All can sense his brother's quirk and says, "Wait, you're his successor? I'm confused." He blows Bakugou back down to the ground, but Bakugou flies back up with his explosions, just until Deku says, "No, Bakugou, you can't fight this one yet." And he sends Bakugou down to the ground using a truth-seeking orb to tie him up. He says, "Where were we?" Deku's eyes flash into the purple Rinnegan form, and a bright blue ribcage begins to surround him. His hair goes white as he activates the Tento's abilities. His skin goes more pale. The Tento says, "Ready." As the Susanoo, even while Deku realizing it, begins to evolve from a ribcage to an upper body to a full body. It's a few stages before perfect Susanoo. Like, it has a body, but it has no wings. But it is massive, like, god damn! If you guys have watched the filler and you saw how big Hagurama Susanoo is, it's the same size. And Deku and One For All goes, "Incredible. I wonder what I wonder what ability this is." He lunges at Deku and throws a right hook. And he's absolutely confused when this punch does no effect. And in fact, the damage got blown back at him. One sec, guys, I need to crack my back. You know what? I'm going to give you guys some proper ASMR if it works. Oh, listen very closely here, guys. Listen. Wait. Oh, I'm going to listen that back and see if you can hear it. If not, I'm going to cut it out. You heard it a little bit. But yes, the damage actually got blown back against him. Deku seeing this says, "Oh, this would be boring." He goes back down to the ribcage version, and he begins flying with a truth-seeking sword ready. He slices off One For All's arm, and One For All yells, "You bastard!" He tries to heal, just to realise he can't. And Deku says, You bore me." And he boots One For All in the face. By now, All Might has showed up, seeing Deku beat the shit out of One For All. He's like, "No, he ain't ready." Until he realises, wait, Deku's winning. By now, all news reporters have shown up to see the #1 villain getting beaten by a student. By now, All Might recognises his responsibility, activates his buff form, and jumps out of the arena. To One For All, who's about to throw another punch at Deku, All Might appears from the side and decks him hard in the face, sending him flying. One For All goes, "No, damn it, All Might's here. That kid was a problem before. He might be even stronger than All Might, but not with both of them. I can't win." News goes, finally, the young man is saved. All Might is here to save him. Hearing this, Deku gets pissed and says, "All Might, fuck off. They're thinking you're here to save me. I'm showing what I can really do." All Might says, "Fine. Even though this man killed his master, he has to accept that this new generation has to be the one to carry it." And he jumps up into the helicopter. The news report saying, "All Might, what are you doing? Save the student." All Might says he wants to make an announcement to the world. He says, "That young man is a Zuku Midoriya. I've been training him as well as his friend personally. And I can tell you by now, He's light years ahead of me, stronger, faster, better abilities. If anyone can beat 1-for-all, it's him. I am proud of him. He's like a son to me. That is my student right there. Now world, I want you to take a good look at the potential next #1 hero. After all my announcing this, the viewer rating got turned from about 1 million to 1 billion, then 2 billion. Now 3 billion people are watching this, including Izuku's mother, and she's going, "My Izuku, why are you fighting the #1 villain? You promised me." Well, Mitsuki watching this next to Inko is going, "Come on, Izuku, that's it, get in there, lad." And 1-for-all, who is now trying to run away, Deku says, no. He uses almighty pull and yanks 1-for-all towards him. 1-for-all thinking, damn it, what is the ability? Deku throws a punch as well as activating almighty push, sends all 1-for-all flying. All for one flying backwards. Just teleporting towards him again. Now using his Susanoo to create a fist, punches 1-for-all down punches all for one down to the ground, breaking his legs. Of course he can heal from this. He still ain't got his arm back though, as getting slashed by a tube he can soar, but you've lost it, bro. Deku's one thing he's noticed is, I'm really bored. You're meant to be the one I'm meant to train my entire life to fight. He does this while he stamps down on all for one's chest. And I haven't even trained for longer than 10 years, bro. And I'm stamping you out. Every word he says, he just stamps. He picks all for one up by his bald head and begins shaking him. And he says, I'm so bored. He extracts all for one's soul, but not the quirk. Deku can sense the energy shoot out. He tries to absorb it, but he couldn't get any of it. We now go to Shigaraki, who has escaped. 1-for-all, all for one. The quirk itself has been injected inside him. He feels the power course through his veins. He goes, this is Master. That means Master has been defeated. Shigaraki begins crying. That his master was more like a dad to him. And he swears vengeance on that boy, the strong one. He swears down he'll kill him, his entire family, his friends. He'll make him suffer the same humiliation that he did. He'll make him feel the same agony, the same pain. And one day, he will rock this world from its roots, uprooting the hero society and putting in a new world order. And yeah, all for one's dead now, guys. Deku absorbed his soul, gaining his experiences. And yeah, it was pretty fun. We now go to Deku, who's in UA now. I don't know why I'm trying to say dormitory. I don't know if that's a word. The dorms are now a thing, like the rooms, they're staying at UA. And they're in the lesson. And they say, blah, blah, blah. Thanks to you. And then a special thanks to Deku, or Izuku Madara. He brings Izuku to the top front of the class and says, thanks to Izuku, it's the reason that any of you lot are alive, let alone me. So make sure the next time you think you're going to have an argument with this young man, don't, because he will beat the shit out of any of you. Deku begins laughing, thinking this came out of nowhere. But it's because Aizawa does appreciate what Deku did for him. He literally saved his life. And then Deku says to all of them, thank you, and don't forget,
I'll kill many of you. I'll kill you all.
I'm joking, guys. He didn't say that, I just wanted to say it. And instead said, it's fine, I don't need thanks for doing helping people, it's a hero's job. And then he sits down. All the class do appreciate Deku insanely. He did save all of their lives, like, and they also have an insane respect for him. He's insanely powerful, and I don't really deeped it till now. But anyway, as Aizawa says, other than that, the UA Sports Festival will be taking place soon. You'll be given 2 weeks to train, to prepare. And may God be with you if you have to go against Izuku. Yes, I'm gonna make Aizawa a Izuku fanboy. An Izuku fanboy, get over it. Oh, I hate my speech impediment more for fucking passion. But yes, the UA Sports Festival will be happening. And as such, they all lead the train. They all get given 2 weeks to train, Deku decides, unlike before, he's gonna train on his own this time. And that's what he does. He begins to meditate. Something that he's been leaving out is the 10 tails. And he makes a connection with it. And I don't mean like something special, he makes the connection to speak with it. And he goes, Ten Tails, can we train? And the Ten Tails replies, of course, Izuku. Of course, Izuku. And Izuku says, you're my friend, I don't mind you calling me Deku. And the Ten Tails says, of course, Deku. That definitely isn't because I always get Deku and Izuku confused. Like, I always say Deku when they say Izuku. Like, I always make sure that Inko says Deku, but then I go, no, Izuku. Also, a lot of you guys say about you can hear me breathing. I'm gonna try to get a pop filter for it. I'm actually gonna try, don't worry. But of course, that's what happens. Deku enters his 10 toes like link form, and he begins experimenting with it. He then realizes, wait a minute, I can manipulate my body in a way I didn't realize. As we all know that Obito, remember when he made that Chuchi orb shoot through his hand? Deku opens up holes throughout his body and says, interesting, that's very useful to dodge. And then he looks down and says, I wonder. He brings out a normal knife, and he stabs himself with it. The knife snaps. And he goes, okay, interesting. And he calls up Bakugou saying, I told you I wanted to train on my own, but please. And Bakugou comes over. If you know what's about to happen, you know I also not only forgot about this 10 Tails ability, but it's also broken. He tells Bakugou to shoot an explosion at him, and Deku's completely unfazed. And Deku tells Bakugou to go to the max 1 for all he could, and then shoot it with full, like his biggest explosion possible. And Deku goes to 20% one, and Bakugou goes to 22% 1 for all. And although I'm going to make this work here, the more 1 full percentage Bakugou uses, the stronger his explosions get. And for plot wise, this is going to have the power of a bomb, mate, like a strong bomb at least. And he shoots at Deku. If this Deku didn't have 10 Tails activated, it would have done at least a bit of damage, but completely fine. That's when Hagoromo comes in. Yes, the 10 Tails ability, well, back in my world, was that the only type of energy that could hurt it was the 10 Tails. I mean, the only type of energy that could hurt the 10 Tails' host was sage energy, nature energy. And while this world is these quirks are actually chakra, unless it's a special type, no one has sage energy. So in this form, no quirks will do any damage against you, unless of course it's a physical type quirk. Actually no, even physical attacks didn't hurt it, did it? So yeah, forget that physical bit. You are literally unbeatable in this form, and Deku has the biggest smile on his face. There's a lot of plans for this. And as such, Deku does some secret training that you figure out later in this Whatif, maybe in the next part of this Whatif, but not now. Sorry. That was a bug on my mic. I just realised I probably ear raped you. Oh, it's back. Oh, sorry. My memory is just a bit bad, you see, so I kind of forget that. Oh, it's back. Okay, that's the last one. I promise. But anyway, so yeah, you'll see what the trainer does later. I know, guys, if the storytelling is shit right now, I put so much effort into this. What if Naruto was born God level part 2? I am knackered. But yeah, we're now going to go to the start of the UA Sports Festival. The first event is announced, a race. And it begins. Deku is in the lead easily, and he's even running backwards just to show off. But Bakugou is not far behind, as he's activated 20% 1 for all, and he's moving at light speeds, bro. Like, Deku's running backwards, yeah, he's still beating him. So, like, that's why I said Deku is still leagues ahead. But Bakugou is actually in Deku's vision, like normal vision, without running gun. And then second is Todoroki, of course. Deku is simply impressed with Bakugou, and he yells, Bakugou! Use your explosions! But keep on running while you're doing it. Aim it not directly down, but literally right behind you. So instead of making it fly up, it makes you fly forward. Bakugou hearing this never thought about something so simple, and he does exactly what Deku says. And he begins moving at insane speed, like he's right in front of, well, he's in front of Deku because Deku's facing him, so he's still technically behind Deku. And he's like, damn, why did I not think of that? And he launches another one, flying past Deku. Deku says, still running backward, he speeds up and gets in front of Bakugou again. Seeing that Bakugou Bakugou now understands that he needs to train with Deku, as simple things like this go over Bakugou's head. Remember, he's book smart, yeah, sort of, but when it comes to common sense, he's a bit thick. Like, something so simple that Bakugou never thought of just increased speed entirely. And Deku says, can you make constant explosions? Bakugou says, yeah, I guess. Deku says, constant explosion, but compact it. Bakugou does this, and it seems like he just activated a jet engine. It's like a big engine behind him, a rocket engine, and he moves at insane speeds. Deku has to run forwards this time to keep up, and Bakugou is moving so fast that he feels like his legs can't keep up. He's screaming, yes! But just, he thinks he's screaming yes because he thinks he's beating Deku, just for Deku to appear right next to him like a jump scare saying, where you going? And Deku says, I'm impressed, Bakugou, keep it in mind, I'll see you at the end. Bakugou says, what? For Deku to slam his foot down, leaving a foot mark in the ground, and appears at the end. The audience goes wild. They answer, not only was he teaching his classmates how to move faster, without any regard for coming first, he comes first with ease. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the one we all guess to be the next #1 hero. And he is showing it, he is proving us right. Of course, first place, Deku. Second place, Bakugou. Third place, Todoroki. Fourth place, I don't know. But yes, then we go on to the next part. The Horseman Race. The team is Deku, Bakugou, Uraraka, and Tokoyami. I know you're thinking, what? I thought you were gonna do Kirishima, Denki, Bakugou, Deku, but actually I forgot about that, but it's too late now. We're gonna go with what I chose. I'm trying to make a flow, but it ain't what. You know what, shut up. I'm so sorry, guys. When it gets to like 3 AM and I haven't eaten, and there's a bar of chocolate next to me, I start rushing through this what if, and it don't make sense, but you know what? I'm gonna show you what I actually do, though, and the rest of this what if is gonna be absolutely amazing. I'm getting in the zone. The team is Bakugou, Deku, Uraraka, and Tokoyami, and it begins. Everyone has their eyes set on Deku, but they're also slightly afraid. And they all begin to rush at him, but moving easily. Yes, Deku's on top, by the way. Moving easily with Bakugou's explosions, Tokoyami using Dark Shadow to move on the ground, like lift them up off the ground, and Uraraka making them light. They are moving easily around this. And Tokoyami says, why don't I surround you in Dark Shadow? Deku says, no need, trust me. And they begin moving even more. Eventually, Ida activates his Nitro Burst, or whatever it's called, to attempt to rush at Deku as the time's going quick. And Deku says, I'm gonna show you why I don't need it. He surrounds him with a True Seeking Orb, unbreakable, and Ida comes in with his with his grab, but he just gets stopped by this True Seeking Orb surrounding him. And he goes, what is this? This ain't fair. And he goes, Midnight, I demand with the name of the Tenya family that you disqualify him. Midnight gets disgusted, saying, shut up, you brat. What the fuck? Who do you think you are? That's his quirk. How are you telling me it's not fair? Well, even though it's his quirk, it's not fair because it's stronger than everyone else's, so it shouldn't be allowed. He isn't allowed to use a quirk to make it fair. The audience starts booing him. But this is a quirk tournament. You're telling me I'm not to use this quirk because it's hard for you. Get out. Midnight goes, for that comment, you're disqualified, Ida. And Ida says, no, not on my Tenya family name. You don't want this smoke. Deku opens up the True Seeking Orb slightly, and he reaches out and rips off Ida's headband. And then seals it back up, saying, fuck off, you... Oh, I can't say that word. He says, fuck off, you prick. And he seals it up again. Deku just sits in this orb for the rest of the game, and comes out first yet again. We now go to the fights. Cool. I need to think about what fights happen first. We go to Deku versus Sheena. And this one goes pretty simple, really. Sheena asks Deku a question saying, why do you want to be a hero? And then Deku answers it and gets put in the mind control. Sheena, he doesn't even know why this is happening, gets dragged inside of Deku's head, where Hagoromo is floating in the air, hiding of course. And Sheena just looks at the 10 toes right in front of him, and it roars at him, screeching. The mind control gets broken, and Sheena screams in reality saying, no, what is that monster? Get away from me! And he runs out of the arena. Deku wins. The next fight we go to would be You know what? I'm just going to do the fights all you guys will want to see. We then go to Deku versus Todoroki. And this fight goes a bit simpler. Todoroki's refusing to use his fire, only using his ice. But his ice literally does nothing to Deku. He's jumping over it, kicking it, does literally nothing. And that's when Deku gives the speech. It is not your father's quirk, it is your quirk. How dare you think you can hold back against me? Didn't Aizawa say don't hold back? Just grow up for once in your life. Realise that who you are. You are you. You are not Endeavour. Just be yourself. This speech hits Todoroki in the feelings, and it explodes with fire, sending it flying at Deku. Deku goes, well, of course this wouldn't do anything against me, but I'm not going to embarrass her. And he lifts his own hand up, sending fire back, even more powerful than Todoroki's. He then enters his ice and fire state and rushes at Deku for the final hit. Deku does exactly the same, covers his hand in the truth-seeking orb and rushes right at Todoroki. Their hands collide. Even with Cementos and Midnight attempting to stop it, it doesn't work. And Todoroki sent flying out the arena with a simple broken arm which Deku heals. We now go to the one that all of you lot have been waiting for. Bakugou versus Deku. It begins. Bakugou rushes at Deku using his new running explosion technique, and Deku pretty simply dodges it, with his running gun now activated, saying, Bakugou, I told you before, you could see me keep up with you with ease, don't use the obvious move. Bakugou, thinking about this, says, not the obvious move. Okay. And he slams an explosion into the ground, flying high into the sky, to the point that not even Deku could see him. And he's saying, Deku says, well, that definitely wasn't the obvious move. That's when it happens. Bakugou coming in from insane speeds from a complete different direction. He literally flew up high into the sky, flew literally behind Deku, flew back down and then flew back towards the arena. Comes in with a massive right hook, hitting Deku on the back of the head. Deku's head gets slammed into the ground, but he shoots back up immediately. Bakugou, who was trying to fly back away, gets his ankle grabbed, and Deku spins around like a tornado, slamming him into the ground. As Bakugou hits the ground, he gets winded, but Deku does not give a fuck. He comes in and stamps on Bakugou's chest, and then swings down. Mitsuki and Inko, who are watching at home, Mitsuki he was supporting Deku, but also supporting her son. She goes, no, don't kick my son, come on Deku, kick him. Wait, damn it, who do I support? And Inko goes, Inko goes, Zuku, stop kicking him, but win? Deku stops kicking him and he picks Bakugou up by his collar and chucks him in the air and hits him hard. Bakugou easily lands this, and this time he activates 20% of one fall. They both rush at each other and start exchanging blows, and I mean neither of them are dodging, they're eating it. Bakugou throws one punch and Deku hits it and a shockwave ensues from it. Deku throws his one and Bakugou eats it and a shockwave comes from it. The audience watching this, who were a second ago cheering, are now dead silent in awe, as they watch these two students who should be not this strong at all go at it like real men, warriors. Not dodging punches, just eating them. And this continues for about a minute until Deku says, it's time to finish this. He charges up a massive punch, but before it can land, the ground beneath them begins to shake. And I mean shake. The arena begins to crack, and a massive explosion is in the distance. Hundreds if not thousands of Nomus are flying out from that direction. A bunch of villains are coming as well. The big giant guy, the League of Villains is there now, formed early. And Shigaraki at the lead of them with his new look, the awakened Shigaraki, is there. And a massive fight begins. Deku jumps up into the sky and rushes directly at Shigaraki. Shigaraki didn't expect this. He thought Deku was going to shit himself. Keep in mind, he's still got that cocky attitude, of course. But Deku comes in with that smoke and hits Shigaraki hard in his chest, sending him flying. Shigaraki goes, no, how dare you! I have the power now, you don't stand a chance. He begins to crack his body, literally just like, oh, it didn't work. Oi! 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 And he begins to, his back begins to crack as more and more quirks awaken through Shigaraki. He's powerful now. If you guys have read the manga, you know he's powerful now. And Deku watching this is confused. He can sense this Shigaraki's energy. He actually has real chakra, and it's off the charts. And Hagoromo, who's watching this and through Deku, is going, interesting. We now go to Deku and Shigaraki, who are staring each other down, neither one of them making a move, just dead silent and eye contact. Until Shigaraki suddenly moves literally 1 centimeter, and one of Deku's clones break out of the ground underneath him, uppercutting Shigaraki. The blow lands, but as soon as it does, the clone is disintegrated. Deku watching this with his Rinnegan says, interesting, you have compiled so many quirks and their chakra into your body. Your body has actually begun adapting, evolving to produce more chakra, therefore strengthening all your quirks based on how much chakra you pour into them. A smile creeps onto Deku's face as he realises how humanity is evolving, and for the first time in a while he is very excited. The most excited that he's ever been. This is going to be the best fight of his life. Both Shigaraki and Deku immediately rush at each other at full speed. Deku and Shigaraki right hooks land. Both of them throw a right hook and they both land. Shigaraki's left with a bit of a bruise, while Deku ends up being disintegrated until poof, it was just a clone. And Deku comes flying from above, yelling, "Massive Rasengan!" slamming it into Shigaraki's back. Shigaraki falls out of the sky, spitting out blood and landing on the ground. Deku lands while laughing, saying, "Is that all you got?" After giving it that sort of speech, I would be embarrassed. Giving such a big speech and then getting one shot like that. Shigaraki literally roars with rage as black and red spikes shoot out of his body in all directions. Deku uses a true Seeking Orb to make a shield that at first block all the spikes, until they suddenly change direction, coming from each of Deku's side. Deku catches as many as he could until it becomes too much, and he yells, "Almighty push!" sending them all flying back at Shigaraki, just for them as soon as they touch him to be disintegrated. They both look at each other smiling and charging again. This time Deku launches a fireball, while Shigaraki sends a fireball even bigger back. Seeing this, Deku thinks, "Oh, you're testing who's stronger here," and he runs straight through it unfazed. And yo, it's just how many quirks do you have? Shigaraki starts laughing like a maniac. "There's only one way to find out, Izuku Midoriya." His arms suddenly increase in mass as they shoot out a massive blast of air right at Deku. Deku takes a deep breath and enters his ten-tails form and roars at them, sending an even bigger blast back. The news reporters in a helicopter filming this is saying, "It seems as this young villain and young hero are now seeing who can do it bigger, who can do it better. How despicable. Do they not realise the danger we are all in? Why doesn't he just do something and end it quickly, end it now?" Deku, who has super hearing, hears this and he yells, "Shut the fuck up! If you want to say shit like that, why didn't you come down here and do it yourself, mate, for fuck's sake, expecting me to do all your work?" Deku then waits for like 5 seconds and doesn't hear a reply, and he yells back, "I didn't think so, you fucking muppet, so stop trying to tell me how to do my job and do yours right. Film." The only reason there hasn't been any casualties as of now is thanks to myself and all these other brave heroes. So just shut up and let me do my job my way. The news reporter shuts up embarrassed, but Shigaraki sees it as a distraction and yells, "Stop interrupting our fight." And he shoots a blast of plasma at the helicopter. Deku yells, "No!" and jumps up in the way, using his staff to negate the plasma quirk. Deku lands and exits his ten-tail form, saying cockily, I don't think I should use this, otherwise it'd be too easy." The fight begins again, and now it's mostly Deku hitting Shigaraki without being hit, and this goes on until Shigaraki becomes enraged and black tendrils shoot out of him, wrapping all around Deku's body as he rushes towards him yelling, "It's over, Izuku Midoriya!" Deku screams, "No, don't!" Shigaraki slams his hand on Deku's chest, laughing till he realises that nothing is happening. He panics, saying, "What? Impossible! After all the power I've gained, it does nothing!" Deku begins laughing even louder, saying, "While I hold this staff, all quirks have no effect on me." Shigaraki's eyes widen as he realises how fucked he truly is, and Deku full force kicks his bastard into the air. As Deku yells, "Take this, you bastard!" "Told Beast Bomb Resen Shuriken!" and Shigaraki is hit directly by this, and an explosion ensues, with a shockwave that blows away multiple people watching. As the smoke clears, we see Shigaraki laying there with his arm and leg missing, destroyed during the explosion. He's breathing heavily. He begins to give a speech about how his life, all his life, heroes have wronged him, how he killed his family when his quirk activated. And after hearing this, Deku actually has sympathy, and he says, "From the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry, I apologise for how you have been wronged. But not all heroes are like this, and because of the pain you dealt, you're going to give pain to other people. Grow the fuck up. You are not a kid anymore, you must have learnt by now." After hearing this, Shigaraki smiles, as his limbs regenerate, and he yells, "Did you really think out of my thousands of quirks, I wouldn't have one to take away your staff?" As he says this, Deku's staff vanishes from his hands into Shigaraki's, due to Shigaraki using a quirk that makes anything he looks at appear in his hand. However, the staff immediately severely starts burning Shigaraki's hand, as it recognises Deku as its owner, not Shigaraki. And when I mean severely, it nearly burnt all the way through his hand. He drops the staff, saying, "It doesn't matter now, you have no way to negate my quirk." Deku's jokey facial expression, like he's not really serious face, changes into serious as he activates his tentacle form, saying, "I have to get serious now, not to be hit by you." They both rush back at each other, and Shigaraki yells, "I'm going to use my most powerful quirk combination." As he yells this, he lunges his hand forward as Deku is stuck, frozen in time from the shoulders down. Shigaraki begins laughing very cockily, saying, "Normally I would just freeze you completely, but I wanted you to feel every moment of this." As he walks over to Deku, placing his hand on him very slowly, as if building anticipation, while Deku screams, no, please, stop, I beg you!" Shigaraki begins to laugh as his fat hand finally makes it onto Deku's chest. However, he quickly stops laughing when he realises it has no effect. He takes his hand off and slams it again. Deku could barely keep his serious face and begins to stand of laughter, saying, "Thank God I could barely keep that serious face up." Shigaraki shrieks, "Impossible! I took away your staff! You should be defenseless!" Deku begins laughing, dying of laughter, saying, "Oh, I could barely keep a straight face. Sorry, my audio did corrupt. I don't know how much stuff I've saved." And Shigaraki, where am I? I am so sorry, guys. He says, "Well, I'm in this form. Quirks have no effect on me. It doesn't matter if I don't have my staff. And here's an even bigger kick in the balls for you. I could summon my staff back to me whenever I wanted." As he says this, Deku's staff reappears in his hand. This breaks him out of that time stop, and Shigaraki starts chanting, "This isn't fair, it isn't fair," over and over and over again, until he comes to the conclusion that if he loses here, then he must not lose alone. He flies into the air and builds up his quirk into one massive ball, compressing them, and releases them all at once, sending it flying at Deku. Yes, when this exchange is over, Shigaraki will have been killed by this, but in Shigaraki's eyes, it is completely worth it if it means that he took Deku down with him. Deku begins to attempt to push it back, but its power was a lot more than Deku was expecting, and he can't absorb it, as this is literally thousands of quirks just attached into one and then shot at him, and in theory they're still attached to Shigaraki. Deku begins to panic. While no, he's not being overpowered, at the same time he can't exactly overpower it back, and he can't get rid of it as well, as if he just shoots it in the air or lets it slam into the ground, there's no guarantee that citizens won't be injured, or there's no guarantee at worst citizens won't be killed. At this rate, Deku's now frozen in place, stuck between the choice. Does he take the hit, risking his own life, with a high chance of death? Or does he let there be risk to civilians getting hurt? Deku smiles to himself, he already knows the choice, it was a stupid question. He can't let others get hurt, it is his job as a hero to make sure they don't. He's preparing himself to take the blow. He's saying to himself, "Mom, Bakugou and all my friends, I'm sorry. I'm sorry this might be the last chance you see me. But no, I did this for the greater good of humanity. I did this to save everyone." Sorry guys. Deku is now about to take the blow, until he hears Bakugou yelling, "You stupid nerd, how many times do I have to tell you? You aren't alone in this world. You don't have to do it all on your own." He comes up flying from the sky and yelling, "One for all, 100% destroy, smash!" He punches Shigaraki around the back of his head, weakening him up, breaking his arm and weakening Shigaraki enough that Deku can get his bearings again and grab his staff and put all his power and all his chakra into it. He throws out a full speed, breaking the sound barrier, moving up the speed of light, and it rips through the attack, and then finally it tears through Shigaraki's chest, killing him. It's finally over. The League of Villains, villains as a whole has been destroyed with no leader. There's gonna be little union, little dangerous plans. And as Shigaraki's lifeless body falls on from the sky, along with Bakugou, who is, yes, I said already, has a broken arm, Deku lifts his fist in the air and yells, signifying the end of villains for humanity and humanity step into a brighter future. Everyone watching this begins cheering. All Might is watching this with tears coming down his eye. Nana Shimura, you've been avenged. One for all. All for one is no more. The world is safe from his terror. Bakugou is still falling and yells, "Deku, catch me!" Deku manages to get to him just before he slams into the ground, and they both fall back laughing. Deku grabs onto his broken arm and Bakugou yells, "Ah, you bastard!" But Deku heals it and he goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot you can do that." They both just lay there laughing for a solid 10 minutes straight. But both look at each other saying, "We did it. We protected the world. We became the greatest heroes we could be. And now, all we have to do is keep up the hard work." And they both look at each other yelling, "I'm going to be #1 hero." And I think this is a good time to end it, guys. Ending it at a point where there's no fear in the My Hero Academia world. Villains have been dealt with. There's no fear that All for One is going to come back. If you're wondering about Overhaul and that, without the League of Villains there as a foundation, he wouldn't be able to build up. And Deku is strong enough to save Eri. She doesn't get that bullshit life. I think you're understanding what I'm putting down. The My Hero Academia world is happy, safe and in peace. Just like how I am. Because you're definitely going to hit that like button. You're definitely going to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss another upload. And other than that, guys, that is the end of the movie. So like I just said, hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends and family, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another upload. It's free for you to hit that fucking like button and you still don't do it, you fucking cheapskates. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and all that. And you get offended by the way I fucking talk to you lot. Fuck off. I'm joking, I appreciate it, but I'm bored of all you fucking... How dare you say fuck? I'll say fuck on my own fucking channel, mate. It's my fucking channel. Fuckity fuck. But yeah, other than that, guys, I will see you later. I hope you did enjoy the movie. Peace out now. Bye.